everyone, and welcome to YarnGasm. I'm Kristen, and this is episode 194. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back, and if you are a new viewer, thank you so much for checking out my podcast. This is a podcast about knitting mainly, spinning sometimes, and apparently a lot of sewing these days. But anyway, this is generally a show about making and primarily knitting. So yeah, it's been a week since I last recorded. I apologize. Last week was just a little discombobulated for me, and I finally just chose my battles and said, all right, I will take a break from podcasting this week and do it next week because so much happened last week. I had a dentist appointment, I had to get some pre-orders out, and it was just, the stars did not align, and I just did not have any time to podcast. But I'm back this week, and I have lots to talk about, lots to show you, and yeah, so let's get to it. I'm trying to think if there are any announcements that I wanted to mention before I dive into things. Looking at my show notes. Nothing major. I mean, I'm probably going to take another podcast break after next week because Dennis and I will be going away on vacation, which I'll talk a little bit more about in Blather. But just to give you a little heads up, I'm going to record next week and then take a break the week after. And the other thing I wanted to mention is I don't know when it's going to go up, but I did have a wonderful interview with Kemper from the Junk Yarn podcast. Hi, Kemper, if you're watching. It was just, basically it was just a really lovely conversation that I had with Kemper, talking about dyeing and knitting and my inspiration. So it was a really lovely chat. It really didn't feel like an interview at all, but it was, just a lot of fun. But I will definitely keep you posted as to when that goes up, and I believe it's only going to be an audio interview, which so again, we'll keep you posted on that. But thank you, Kemper. It was really wonderful chatting with you. And what else? I'm trying to think. I want to announce a new knit along. I'm not sure what it is exactly. Maybe I will come up with it while I record this podcast, but I definitely want to get another one going since we already announced winners for the last two knit alongs, which are over. There was the Waiting for Rain knit along, and then there was the Ville d'Esmer knit along, which have ended, and I've announced prize winners, which, by the way, I'm still waiting to hear back from the winner of the Narwhal Needleworks fiber, and I will probably post it again below here, and if I don't hear back from you by this weekend, I will just draw for another winner, because I think over 2 weeks is long enough to respond if you have been watching the podcast and you want to see if you won anything. So yes, I think that covers pretty much all the announcements that I have and housekeeping notes for this week. So I'm going to move right along into mail because I received some really lovely swap packages this week, and they're too pretty not to share with you guys. So the first one is from the lovely Erin. Hi, Erin. We did a swap, a mini skein swap, and she really spoiled me. She gave me more than I had anticipated, but she gave me these really lovely, beautiful mini skeins. And she numbered them and labeled them, and they're just really, really beautiful. I'm trying to see which one is my favorite. This one is really, really beautiful. Yeah, I have to refer back to the card. Again, I'm a little underprepared for this episode. I don't have all my materials in front of me, so I'm going to wing it, guys. I have a couple of things jotted down, but obviously I'm just going to wing it this week. But this one's my favorite. Ooh, this one. Sparkly pink. Love it. And oh yes, this one's really cool too. It's like a tonal, like peachy orange. I don't know, orange is sneaking its way into my life. I don't know, I've never been a huge fan of orange, but lately, I don't know, something about it. I don't know, Jenny from Tiny Paper Foxes, she's all about the orange, so maybe that's some kind of influence. I don't know, but anyway, these are really fun. And then she gave me something from her stash, this is a caked skein of Regia. Apparently they make sock blanks, and I had no idea, but this is a caked version of a sock blank. So this is a really pretty colorway, and yes, I'm really interested to see how this will knit up. Definitely my colors, dark gothy, purple mauve, I'm sorry. See, here's the thing. I initially thought the correct pronunciation for mauve was mauve. So I had been calling it mauve, and then a couple of people had called it mauve. So it's kind of like tomato, tomato. You say tomato, I say tomato. So I was like, well, maybe I am saying it wrong, because 9 out of 10 that's usually the case. So I started saying mauve instead of mauve. But apparently I had been saying it the correct way all along. So going forward, I shall pronounce the word mauve as mauve, which is a color if you're not familiar. But anyway, I'm a little loopy today, guys, as usual. And she sent me some really lovely candies, and this one is really interesting. It's a tea candy, which I've never heard of. It's by Bali's Best Tea Candy, citrus green tea, and then there's another one in here that I'm dying to try, which is a green tea latte candy. So interested to try that one. And then she also, again, I'm telling you guys, she spoiled me. She sent me this really gorgeous skein of Fortissima, it's Mexico cotton stretch, which looks really cool. So thank you so much again, Erin, for the lovely swap package. Cannot wait to knit those into my blanket. And the next swap package that I got in the mail was from the lovely Kim in the UK, and again, totally spoiled. She had actually reached out to me on Ravelry wanting to know if we wanted to do a swap, and had wanted to know if I've ever tried pear drops, because I had mentioned how much I love the flavor of pear and pears in general, and how there are not enough pear flavored things, and she had wanted to know if I had ever tried pear drops, which apparently is a very popular candy in the UK, and I told her no, I haven't. So she wanted to know, like, let's do a swap and I'll send you some pear drops. I'm like, excellent. So she sent me, I've been hoarding these like crazy. They are delicious. Oh my gosh, you guys, they're just like hard candy, but they're coated in sugar and they taste like pear, and they're absolutely delicious. Thank you so much, Kim. I am definitely going to ration these like crazy. And I made the mistake of giving one to Dennis, and yeah, he's hooked. So I will be hiding these, and hopefully they will last me quite some time. And she sent me some other candies, which are really delicious. And she, of course, sent me some minis, which I've already dipped into, which I will show you in a moment. But she sent me these really, really lovely mini skeins, and I looked at some and I was like, I bet that I've never tried Wool Barn before, except for a mini skein that Maria from the Stitched in Sweden podcast sent me. She sent me one mini skein from the Wool Barn, and that was the only experience I've ever tried knitting with the Wool Barn yarn before. But I saw one skein in here and I was like, that looks really familiar. I'm sure I've seen it before. I bet it's Wool Barn. And sure enough, how beautiful is that? It is Wool Barn. So one day I will catch an update by Maya, because she does dye some really beautiful, subtle, speckled, beautiful yarns. And oh my gosh, you guys, how cute is that? It is a mini skein of opal. I can't even right now. It's a mini tiny skein of something, of opal wool of something. The label's on it, Kristen. But yeah, how adorable is that? It's so cool. Anyway, thank you, Kim. This is awesome. And just, I love this. It's a pen with a parrot. It's like one of those multiple color pens that you can, push down the thing and the color comes out and you can write with it. Anyway, you know what that is. But I thought it was really, really cute. So thank you so much again, Kim. And the packaging, absolutely stunning. So that was really fun to get in the mail this week. So thank you again. I can't say thank you enough. So that is it for mail this week. I'm going to move along to what is off my needles, because I've got some finished objects. So exciting. Okay, so last time I spoke with you, I showed you a pair of vanilla socks that I had cast on using some Voolenvine hand-dyed yarn, which is hand-dyed yarn by Magdalena of the Voolenvine podcast. Again, if you have not checked out her podcast, please do. She is awesome. I love catching up with her every week. Magdalena is, if you're having a bad day, I just turn on Magdalena's podcast and she has me laughing, because she's just so, I love her energy, and she's just so funny and bubbly, and Magdalena, you are awesome. So, but yeah, I finally cast on a pair of socks using her yarn, and I have a finished pair. Finally, if you recall, I had been knitting the vestigial socks, and I finished one sock and I cast on the other, but they were kind of a slog, and I feel like 4 weeks and I still was not done with them. I was craving just a quick, gratifying knit for a pair of socks, and I just cast these on, and they practically knit themselves. These were so fast to knit up. And you can see, like, this is some of my hand-dyed yarn. This is Voolenvine yarns in the Volca base in the black pearl colorway, and I used those for contrasting a cuff heel and toe, and I used a fish lips kiss heel. And I think it went so, the combination of my yarn with Magdalena's goes so well together. I don't know if you can see that. But yeah, I really, really love the way these turned out. So yeah, I have another pair of socks for my box of socks, which is, if you're just tuning in, it's a year-long knit along. And my cat is going crazy in the hallway. She's just meowing. I don't know. This is her new thing. We actually, Dennis, I know I'm going off on a total tangent here, but Dennis and I had purchased a runner for our hallway, you know, just one of those long carpets. And she thinks it's a toy, so she goes crazy for it. She rolls up in it, rolls around in it. It's not serving the purpose we had intended it to serve, but apparently now it's a roll-up for a cat. But anyway, what was I talking about? So yeah, the box of socks, Cal. Again, it's a year-long knit-along that I'm hosting. It kicked off January 1st, 2016, or give or take around there. And it's going to go all the way until January 1st, 2017. And the concept is 12 pairs of socks in 1 year. And you have to, where's my box? My box is on the shelf and there's things on top of it, so I'm not going to pull it down. But the idea is to get a box and just put all your beautiful hand knit socks in there. And by the end of the year, you'll have a wonderful box filled with socks for yourself. So yes, this is a selfish knit along. So all the socks have to be for yourself. And yes, so, and you can knit more than 12 pairs of socks if you want. So yeah, have at it. But yeah, this is, I believe, my 5th pair. So the next thing that is off my needles is my Hilhui shawl. It is done, you guys, and I cannot be more excited. I so enjoyed knitting this thing. It is a pattern by Hui Locatelli, and let me take it off so I can show you guys. But this was so fun to knit, you guys. It has 3 colorways that I use. The first one up here is Hedgehog Fibers in the Urchin colorway, which I'm probably going to have to get more of because I love it. It's just such a beautiful, speckled, subtle color. I mean, it's so beautiful. I don't know. I don't know what I want to knit with it, but I know I want to knit something else out of it. And this color here is Fiber Story and the colorway is Truffle, which picks up the brown in here so well. There are other colors in here too, like hot pink speckles and purple, and just really, really beautiful. And then this really gorgeous purple right here is Purple Rain, again by Hedgehog Fibers. And it looks, there are definitely a lot of short rows involved in here, but they're pretty mindless. I mean, once you get into a rhythm, it's like clockwork. It's just, it goes. And I knit on this while I was watching, TV. I was knitting on it in the car. Just a really simple potato chip knit. And it goes on, but at the same time, if you're bored of socks or whatever, this is definitely something you can just easily pick up and work on. And this yarn I purchased at Do You Knit, where I did my trunk show. So this, I guess, could be my Do You Knit shawl. Yay! Awesome. And I'm trying to think when the last time I knit a crescent shaped shawl was. I think it was the color Affection. And I was a little concerned because the edging on here is not very stretchy, and because of that, you can tell, like right here, it just does like this huge curl. But I think it works out for the best because when I just drape it on my shoulders like this, it conforms to my shoulders, so I don't have to worry about it falling off. It hugs my shoulders, so I can just chuck it on and not worry about it, which is how I've been wearing it. And you can just drape it across like that. And I love it. I highly recommend this pattern, and I definitely want to knit a million more Hui Locatelli shawls. So yeah, this was, I just want to curl up on it. This is going to be my shawl this is going to be the shawl that I take to me. This is going to be the shawl that I take with me to Cape Cod. It's going to be perfect for the beach, perfect to just wrap up in, and when, it just gets chilly. And it's not very chilly right now. It's actually a beautiful day out. The sun is finally out. I don't know about you guys, but like on the East Coast in the US, we've been having a lot of shade, so to speak, a lot of shade and rain, and it's been going on for quite some time. And I'm just today it's finally sunny out, and it feels like it's in the mid 70s right now. So I'm craving. I really want to open the window right now, but I know if I do that, it's going to be loud. So I'm leaving the window shut just while I record. But after I'm done, I'm probably going to open the windows, let some air in, and just maybe sit outside and enjoy, the sunshine before I really get into work today. But anyway, I'm totally digressing. But anyway, lovely pattern, highly recommend it. And yeah, it's lovely. But yeah, that is it for what's off my needles. Now the only problem is I have to figure out what to cast on next. And yesterday I was watching, I've been really into pole dark lately. I don't know, it was one of those shows that popped up on my Amazon feed. It's like, oh, if you watch this and you like this, you might also like this. And pole dark kept popping up, and I was like, all right, whatever, I'll just watch it. And guys, I'm so hooked on that show. I'm probably late to the game because many of you have probably already watched it, but I am hooked. Anyway, digressing again, but it was like one of those things where I didn't want to take the time to start a new pattern, a new shawl pattern or anything. I just wanted to pick up something that was already on the go. And I discovered that I had a sock on the go that I totally forgot about. And I'm not talking about my vestigial socks. I'm talking about it's living in my Alex Collins bag. This lovely bag right here that I've been using every day, you guys. I love this bag. But this is a project that I took with me when we went up to Canada, and just like you do, you take a pair of socks with you when you go away. So I found these languishing in a project bag that I had left over from Canada, like you do sometimes, and I was like, oh my gosh, I never finished these. So luckily I could just watch Pole Dark and pick these up and knit on them. And this is one sock that I have this is one of the socks that I started, and right now I'm on the heels. And then the other one that I started, which when I had them both on the go, this is what I have of that one. And again, I'm totally blanking on the name of the yarn, but I will put it in the down bar. But yes, so, and they're on DPNs because that's how I found them. And yeah, but I do want to cast on another pair. I've been bitten by the design bug again. I have a couple of ideas in my head, and it's just about finding the time carving out the time to actually work on it. But I do want to mention, this is something that I think I forgot. I don't know if I want to talk about it in Blather or here, but as I mentioned, Dennis and I are going away on vacation for Labor Day weekend, but I am going to take a make-cation because I haven't done that this year yet. So I don't want to call it specifically a knitcation because I know there will be sewing involved. By golly, there will be sewing involved. But I think we're leaving on Friday of next week. So I will have that whole week that I don't want to take the whole week off, but I know Monday I'm just going to tie up some loose ends business-wise, and then, get some yarn orders out, and then I'm going to just sign off, not fall off the grid, but just kind of like, put my work down and just enjoy time to make, if that makes any sense. So I think Tuesday through Thursday, I'm going to rip a page out of KT from Inside Number 23 and just take a vacation and just take the time to sew, to knit, and maybe vlog. I don't know. I've never vlogged before, but maybe I will do that. Or Periscope. I know the kids are all about the Periscope lately, so, who knows? It'll be a week of experimentation and fun. So we'll see about that. But anyway, that was a side note. But yes, so that is on my needles at the moment. And the other thing that I want to cast on, I know I mentioned a couple of patterns that I was thinking about casting on, but this has been this is from this book that I reviewed a while ago. It's called New Lace Knitting, Designs for Wide Open Spaces by Rosemary Hill. And I reviewed this a while ago, and there's one pattern in here that I really, really want to cast on. It's just been sitting there in the back of my brain like, I should really cast that on, I should cast it on. So I think I will cast this on at some point. let me see. And this is, if I can find it, the Crystal Bay. The Crystal Bay shawl. And here it is. One thing, they don't really show, I mean, it's beautiful. Like, again, another crescent shape shawlette with an applied border. I wonder if they show it. Yeah, they don't do a good job showing off the actual shape of it. You can't really tell anything from that, but if you, excuse me, if you look it up on Ravelry, you can see it in its full glory. So it looks really beautiful, really simple, straightforward. So I think I want to cast that on at some point. I have no idea what yarn I'm going to use. I'll have to pull from my stash, but yeah, I think I will cast that on maybe next week. So if anybody wants to join me, let me know. Maybe we'll turn it into, I think the next knit along should be a lace along. So it's spring. No one really wants to knit warm woolen mittens or sweaters or, you know, so maybe I will host a lace along. So let's do it. Let's do a lace along. I will create a thread in the Ravelry group. So yeah, let's do this. I think it'll be a month or 2 month long knit along. We'll see. But again, I'm just creating this up off the top of my head as I'm talking about it. So there's that. But yes, okay, lace along. So we're not dedicated. The reason why I'm calling it a lace along and not a Crystal Bay along is because yeah, I don't want to hold anybody to one specific pattern, because in case you lose interest, or, you know, I just want to give everybody a little, especially myself, because I'm notorious for this, you know, like losing interest in projects and kind of putting them by the wayside. But I'm like, oh, that was part of that specific knit along. I feel like if I call it a lace along, it'll just give people a little bit of wiggle room in case they want to change their mind midway or what have you. But let's do a lace along. It'll kick off, I'm not sure. Let me think about it and check the thread that I will put in the YarnGasm Ravelry group, which if you have not joined, you should totally join. So anyway, again, this book is New Lace Knitting by Rosemary Hill, one of my favorite designers. So check it out, y'all. Okay, the other thing that I almost forgot to mention, on my needles or on my crochet hook, as you know, everyone is knitting, or I feel like there's been a resurgence of the Cozy Memories blanket and everyone's knitting on them again, and which is, I feel like wanting to knit on that comes in waves. Like there are times when you just put a million squares into it, and then you have these other, like, you know, you put it aside and work on other things, and then it's like, oh wait, yeah, the Cozy Memories blanket, and then it comes back and you knit another million squares into it, and I'm totally exaggerating by millions, more like 5 or 6 in my case, but yeah, one day I woke up and I was just like, I want to crochet something, because I had seen Disa from Disa, I think Disa, her podcast is called the Disa Crafts Work Podcast, and I just started watching it, but I caught a photo that she posted on her Instagram feed, and she had knit this beautiful granny square. Yes, I called a granny square beautiful because with hand-dyed yarn, I think granny squares really, like, something that I've noticed is that granny squares really make hand-dyed yarn pop, and especially like when I saw Disa's, she had actually crocheted a granny square using some hand-dyed yarn by me, and this is how I came across it. I'm like, oh my god, that's really cool. Like, she used some octopus garden, and the granny square came out really beautiful, and I was really inspired, and, you know, I was thinking about it, and then one day I woke up, like you do, and I was like, yeah, let me take a couple minutes this morning and just crochet up a granny square, see how it, you know, what happens. And you guys, it took over my life pretty much. These are so gratifying to whip up, and I mean, I've already started crocheting them joining them, but I just went at it. And this is Octopus Garden, because this is the one that I wanted to recreate that I saw from Disa. And yeah, it's really, really beautiful. And this is I can't remember what this one is, but it was a mini skein from Laura from the Dyer's Notebook podcast, and this is you can probably clearly see that this is yarn from my Hui shawl, and the border that I'm using is just some simple Knit Picks Stroll in the Grey Dove colorway, and I really love the way these are so fast. I can crochet one up in like about 25 minutes, maybe less. I don't know, depending how much I'm putting into it. And then here's another one that I did out of my hand-dyed yarn. This is water sprites. And then I did so many of these actually. It's crazy. Where's the other one? Hang on. This one I really love. This is also Jinx Yarns. This is from her holiday colorway, the Gingerbread House. It was self-striping. And I think self-striping looks really cool with granny squares. I don't know, I love it. It's so cool. So I've been having a lot of fun with that. And they're almost, dare I say, a little more gratifying than the memory blanket. But yeah, it'll be nice to have both of those going at the same time and see where they go. Especially like because sometimes I do get mini skeins that have a lot more yardage in them than I need for one mitered square. So, and then I never know what to do with that leftover. So, but I feel like if I have any leftovers from that, I can just put it into the granny square blanket. So it's gonna be a fun project. I've just been having, again, lots of fun with it. So there's that. And I'm thinking about getting a new crochet hook for this because I'm using what I have. Obviously, I don't crochet on a regular basis. I actually call crochet the dark arts because it's like the dark side. Like, I only knit, I don't crochet. But yeah, I mean, this is a 3mm crochet hook. I'm not sure what letter that is or anything, but it's a metal one that I've had in my stash for I don't know how long. I have no idea where I got it from. But I'm thinking about getting a wooden one or something with a pointier tip to the hook. But this is I think this is just a boy hook that you can get at any craft store, Joann's or what have you. Okay, so I think that is it. I'm going to move on to sewing because lots of sewing going on these days, you guys, as if you haven't already picked up on that. I guess I will talk about the first thing that is a finished object that I'm wearing. This is, if you haven't already noticed, but this is my very first LBD, aka Little Black Dress, that I've sewed for myself, and I'm very pleased with it. This is another version of the Simplicity New Look 6457 pattern, which I heard about from Isabel from the Fluffy Fibers podcast. It was actually one of the very first dresses that I've sewn, and I had reached out to Isabel asking her, like, because she did post a photo of herself wearing the same dress, and I was like, that is such a really beautiful pattern. She let me know which one it was, so of course I purchased it and made one for myself amongst like several other versions of it. But it's been a while since I made one, so I figured, all right, summer's coming, spring's here, the weather's gonna get warmer. It would be nice to have one that actually fits and looks somewhat decent, because I will say I have come a long way since I've sewn my last version of this dress. And no, I don't have it. I had a version of it with me to show you, but I had that dandelion pattern. It was like a natural color with it's my Pusteblumen dress, as Molly from A Homespun House had dubbed it. But yeah, those are in my closet right now, so I cannot get them. But this is my new version of it. I don't know, I'll stand up so you can see. And this is Black Swiss Dot, which is a very lightweight fabric, 100% cotton. And, let me see, it has these straps here. And yeah, it doesn't have pockets, but yeah, you can see, I will talk about this in a minute, but this side is a little bit more together. Very happy with the way it turned out, but let me explain the sides. As I mentioned, it's been a while since I sewed this one up, so I'm pretty sure I made a mental note when I sewed my last ones, like, okay, I'm cutting out these pieces, this is gonna measure out a little larger, so I should probably sew, instead of doing 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, I should do a little bit more, maybe 1/2 inch or something. I don't know, there was a method to my madness at the time, and as a newbie sewer, I did not think to write it down or adjust the pattern as such, so I just went with the cutout that I already had. But when I finished the pattern, let me take this off so you can actually see. When I finished sewing this part out here it did one of these. So I had some extra fabric underneath that kind of came out, but the waist and everything was fine. So I was very pleased with the work, and then I was like, oh, but what do I do about that? So the first thought that came to mind was like, well, I can't seam rip anything because it is actually lined. I lined it with, I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it's a very shiny acetate, not acetate. I have to recheck my order form, but it is a specific lining. It's black. It's a little bit shiny. Again, sort of a newbie, but yeah, I couldn't just take a seam ripper to it and adjust it from there because this band just goes across everything and everything's kind of like layered. And so the first thought that came to mind is like, well, I can just dart it, you know, just add some darts underneath and pull it, cinch it in. Anytime I say the word cinch, this might just be me, but if you're familiar with Saturday Night Live, there was a skit when Adam Sandler and Chris Farley were on there, and they played these girls that were working at the Gap in the mall, and they were like, just cinch it. So every time I say the word cinch, I think of that skit. Anyway, I digress. But anyway, on this side, I was kind of in a rush because I was going out, you guys. So I darted on the go. Maybe like about a half an hour before we actually left the house, I added the darts. And it worked. It really, really did the trick, because now it fits perfect. Except for this one, which I think I will redo and just realign it better, because obviously this little right there does not align correctly, and that's driving me nuts. But otherwise, I'm very pleased with the way it turned out. It has princess seams, which turned out perfectly. And yeah, so very, very happy with it. I have some more Swiss dot in gray, which I'm saving for another pattern. But yeah, this is, this is going to be a really great versatile dress that I can wear whenever, because I needed one of those. Yeah, so, and you can, because it's a little black dress, you can dress it up, you can dress it down, what have you. Again, very versatile. But the other thing that I sewed, this is something, I made another version of it, kind of like a muslin version. Oh, I made a muslin. Oh my gosh, you guys. But this might look familiar because I showed you the fabric, but I made a circle skirt out of my piping plover fabric. Yay! And it's a little wrinkled because it's kind of been sitting around, and yeah, and I may have been wearing it. But anyway, this is a pattern that I actually, I think I talked about it before, Gertie. I'm a fangirl of Gertie Hirsch, and she has this really awesome sewing tutorial on YouTube. I think she did it for Good Housekeeping TV, and it's a very simple, like, she shows you from start to finish how to create a pattern and make this dress. So you use your measurements, create 2 rectangles, cut out the fabric, and then she shows you all these really cool techniques on how to just make a plain, simple circle skirt. And yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to do with this fabric to begin with. And it has a lapped zipper, which you can see over here. So I probably could have done a better job with this. The inside is nothing to write home about. In fact, I really don't want to write home about anything inside this thing at all. But yeah, it has a lap zipper, which has like an eye hook closure, which, by the way, I got these from my 99-cent store, which is around the corner from me. So 99 cents, I got a whole pack of hook and eye closures. And it also has like the other ones, like the ones that you're used to seeing on the back of dresses, just like a whole pack of them for $1. I was, yeah, total random find. But anyway, and here's the zipper under the lap. So it goes like that. Whoop. Now you see it. Now you don't. So really cool technique. And then I might as well just show you the inside, just for research, for science. You want to see the insides of things. But had I been a little bit more meticulous, you can see this. Like this, I really shouldn't have. I think I cut the seam allowance, or I trimmed the seam allowance a little more than I should have. But ideally, this should have covered all of my gathered stitch. I mean, it did. But here you can see I have some gathered stitches. But honestly, it's on the inside, and no one's gonna see it. No one's gonna know it's there except for me. So, and I did have a little snafu with the gathers at the end over here. But again, it's a gathered skirt. It's supposed to be bunchy and floofy. So, but I think this is probably the best job I did with a hem. And hems have always been a problem for me. For some reason, I could never get the hems right. But this one, I think I nailed it. So everything's very consistent, everything's very even, and yeah, so this will definitely be getting a lot of wear this summer. And I think the pattern is so fun. And yeah, this will be like a staple in my Cape Cod attire for this summer, I think. And look how, like, I don't know, I just love how I nailed like having the piping clovers on the waistband, just going smack in the middle of that. Yeah. So I am beyond giddy about this dress, so, or skirt, I should say. So anyway, that is all I have to show you as far as finished projects go for sewing. But if you're curious about, I did use the serger on, if you're curious about the lining for this skirt, I will just show you here. This is on the black dress because I meant to show this to you. And I have a hair. Okay. So here I used the serger, and here I tacked or stitched the hem. So there's no fold over. I just, to clean up the edges, I serged it and then just folded it over and tacked it down. And here's the lining. So you can see it's like entirely fully lined. And the type of lining that I used, I know I'm backtracking to the first outfit that I made, but the type of lining that I used gives this kind of like a rustle when I walk, so it feels like one of those cocktail dresses. It gives it like a totally different hand, if you will. So yeah, it's amazing like how the lining can totally alter a fabric that you wear into a garment. So anyway, I thought I would geek out about that, just geek out about that for this episode. But anyway, okay, the other thing that I wanted to talk about is hashtag what's a sloper, and this I am very, very excited about. As I mentioned last week, I had been watching or listening to the Knit More Girls podcast, hosted by Jasmine and Gigi. They're a mother and a daughter, and I've been listening to them for ages and ages. I think they've been podcasting for 8 years. But anyway, Gigi had mentioned that she had wanted to make a sloper, and I had no idea what a sloper was until she mentioned it. So I researched it, and basically you take your measurements and create a very form-fitting muslin for your person. So it fits you to a T. There's no ease or, excuse me, no leeway, like there's absolutely no ease. It's just like a glove, dress for your body. So, and you use this when drafting new patterns, new designs, or altering commercial patterns to fit you like to a T. So, and it's apparently it's a very, very important thing to have, especially if you like to sew a lot of dresses for yourself, like I apparently do. So, I talked with Gigi, and yeah, we decided it's not going to be like an official sew along or anything like that, but it's going to be like an ongoing thing. And we decided on hashtag what's a sloper. And I will post that in the down bar so you can join in if you want to. So we're both creating slopers for ourselves, and I had actually signed up for a Craftsy class called, what is it? Pattern Making Basics, the bodice sloper with Susie Fuhrer. And again, it's on Craftsy if you're interested. So she takes you basically step by step how to take your measurements and how to create a sloper from start to finish. And it's really insightful, really helpful. I may enlist my friend to, I may go over her place and have her take my measurements, because it is a little difficult to get to certain parts of your body, especially because especially if your body's not exactly symmetrical. I definitely have a shoulder that's higher and lower than the other, and I want to make sure that I get that correct, so if I sew a pattern, I know how to adjust it. Yeah, so that'll be really exciting. If you want to join us, please do. It'll be a lot of fun. Definitely a learning experience for me in particular. But yeah, that'll, so yay, slope along. And again, it's just an open-ended along, if you will. There's no deadline. I don't think we're handing out any prizes for it. It's just going to be a basic, learning experience, and for us to share our progress and help each other out. Again, I will create a thread in the YarnGasm Ravelry group. So that leads me into talking about stuff that I purchased for my fabric stash and pattern stash that's ever growing these days. So yeah, it was actually only a matter of time before I caved and purchased this. Yeah. So now I have 2 Gertie books. This is Gertie's new book for better sewing, which is her first book. And I have to be honest, I like the patterns in here a lot more than her new book. So I feel like a lot more patterns in this book in particular speak to me more so, especially like this one right here. I mean, this is something that I've been looking for forever, which is very similar to this dress, except it has like a sweetheart thing, which I could probably alter the pattern. I know I can do it, you know, it's just a matter of learning how to do that. But the cool thing is she actually has a tutorial in this book on how to do that. So I think this book was a major win, and I'm so glad that I purchased it. And one thing that I really like about Gertie's sewing books is that her patterns are very versatile. You can mix and match the patterns that she has to suit your style, and you know, shows you how to revise them, and you know, so which I think is very, very invaluable if you're into sewing. And she has like a lot of cool stuff in here. I'm trying to find another pattern. This one. Again, I'm probably gonna have to do boning on this, but that is so cool. Yeah, just lots of fun, beautiful dresses in here. So really happy that I got this. Again, this is Gertie's new book for better sewing. So, but wait guys, that is not all. My friend Gabby from the Once Upon a Corgi podcast, Dennis and I had actually been on the, you know, we were driving back from an event, and you know, we were out of town, and Gertie had sent a mass text to everybody like, hey, you guys, I just got some, you know, I'm at Joann's and they're having a sale on simplicity patterns. All the patterns are 99 cents. And I turned to Dennis, I'm like, I think there's a Joann's like a couple miles that way. So after a little humming and hawing, I finally got Dennis to take me to Joann's, since it was on the way home, you guys. So, you know, I was like, let's just pop in there, see what's up, you know. And one pattern that Gabby had, you know, posted, she was like, you know, like, look what I got, you know, and it was this one by Cynthia Rowley. So we get to Joann's, and Dennis goes off. He runs a couple of errands at the, you know, Walgreens or whatever. And I go into Joann's, and I make a beeline for the pattern section. And again, I live in the city. We don't have a Joann's near us. We have a Michael's, which we have to drive to. And anyway, so this is kind of like an exciting experience for me. I'm like, yeah, it's Joann's. Let's go crazy. So I'm in the pattern section, and which I think is just, you know how they have those floor poles with little slots to put the patterns in, that they rotate, and you have no idea what I'm talking about, but anyway, I think they're just a couple of tiers of shelves with whatever patterns that they have, and I'm like looking through them, I'm like, this is really slim pickings for you know, sewing patterns at a Joann's, you know, like what's going on here. So, you know, I pick out a couple of patterns that I think I might buy, and then I go to the fabric section, and then Dennis comes, you know, he's like, are you done? Blah, 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 you know. And then I was like, no, I kind of want to look around a little bit more, and I was looking at the fabric, and then, you know, when it came time for us to finally go, I was like, all right, I have to decide which patterns I want to purchase. So, you know, I took another gander at the shelves and everything, and then Dennis sees this giant filing unit, like a giant filing cabinet unit smack in the middle of the sewing area, and he just casually opens the drawer. He goes, oh look, there are more patterns in here. And I turn around and look, I'm like, oh, but wait, that must mean that the whole thing is filled with patterns. And then yeah, he pretty much dug his own grave at that point. And I think for the next half hour, I was just frantically looking, because I knew he wanted to go and I didn't want to take up too much time, but I was like frantically looking through all, like pulling out all the drawers, looking through them. Not the best way to browse for patterns, but, you know, I didn't want to, you know, whatever. We were coming back from my little cousin's communion, so I felt like that was enough torture for him for the day. But anyway, yeah, but I did find the pattern. I found the pattern that Gabby posted. I won't necessarily be making this version. I think I will be making this version of the pattern. I don't know, the whole crisscross across the top, not really my style, but this one, totally. I can totally see myself wearing that one. Yeah, so very excited about that, and that is the Cynthia Rowley collection, I believe, 1607H5 by Simplicity. So I got this for $1, which is awesome. But then you guys, I found my Halloween costume for this year. I'm very excited about it. Do you want to see it? This was not a Simplicity pattern, but yeah, I'm a closet LARPer, you guys. This is happening for Halloween. So I'm very excited about this one, and it's Butterick. It's, let me see, B4827, and they're making history series. So I will be going as a medieval wench. Yeah, so very excited about that. So that's all I purchased. Again, I think if I had a little bit more time and relaxation to just browse at my leisure through that ginormous filing cabinet, I think I would have come away with more, but them's the breaks. So yeah, there's that. So I purchased that. And then I was reading Gertie's blog for Better Sewing, like you do. Clearly I am fangirling. There's no better way to describe it, I guess, but she had, when I read one of her posts on sewing with quilting fabric, and she had made a dress out of quilting fabric using the Maryland dress, which is a pattern by Serendipity Studio, and I saw it. The dress on the actual pattern I'm not crazy about, but the actual structure of the dress, I think with the right fabric, it's going to look really cute. So again, this is a Maryland dress. Let me take it out so you can see it. And the pattern retails for, you purchase it online. It's only, you can't download the PDF for it, but it retails for $12 US, in case you're curious. But here's the back version of it. So yeah, it has that V-neck that I like, and it's another version. Here's another, so you can actually see the lines of it. I'm not going to be doing the piping or anything like that, but I just want like a simple dress in this shape, basically, if you will. So that's coming down the pike, which, by the way, I should probably mention. I know I'm being all over the map with this, but I am hosting, or the YarnGasm podcast is hosting a summer sew-along. So it's called Project Sew Along Season 1, and it's, going to go all the way up until the first day of summer. And I'm calling it I'm calling it Project Sew Along because it may not be summer where you are. So I'm leaving it open, but 2 to 3 handmade garments by the first day of summer here in the US, which I believe is June 21st. Check the Ravelry thread for that. But yeah, this is definitely going to be a part of my summer sew-along for, because we are going into summer, I'm just going to call it a summer sew-along for myself. But anyway, totally rambling, guys. I'm way out of practice. You skip a week and then this is what happens. So that is one thing. And then I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I wanted to talk about before I move along to Ask Away. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I was watching, I was on Netflix, and another one of those things popped up. If you like this movie, you might like this movie, popped up. So I ended up, with no better option to watch. I watched this movie. It was okay. I wouldn't say it was great, but it's called, what was it? Begin Again, and it has Mark Ruffalo and Keira Knightley in it. And, it's a modern day, it takes place in Manhattan, modern day, and, he's a producer. She has, she's a singer down on her luck, and he wants to give her a record deal, yada yada. So anyway, but her outfits in the movie were really, really, really adorable. And there was one dress that she wore. It was this red plaid shirt dress. It looked very vintage, and I loved the dress. And I wanted, immediately I was like, I have to make one for myself. So, totally taking this from Katie of Inside Number 23, her Netflix and Sew segment. But yeah, I am totally going to make one of these dresses for myself. Maybe not with red plaid, but I did order some fabric, some more like gray/brown fabric, plaid fabric from fabric.com. So that's coming in the mail. And I did find a pattern that is relatively similar to the one that she has. And I'll try and post an image of it right here if you want to know what I'm talking about. But I did find the Camille dress but from Pauline Alice Patterns. And as it's exactly what I mentioned. It's like a shirt dress. So it has a V-neck but like with lapels, and it buttons down just to the waist, and then it's kind of a a gathered waist. I don't think the one that she had in the movie had a gathered, so I'm not sure if this one has gathers. I don't think this one has gathers. So it's just going to be, just a simple A-line skirt. So if that makes any sense. But anyway, again, post photos so you can see what I'm talking about. So I think that is it for sewing. I know that this is turning into a long segment, guys, but I'm glad that you are enjoying it. as far as I know from the feedback that I've been getting about the sewing segment. But yeah, that is what I plan on working on during my week that I have off. Yay! Okay, so I am going to move along to Ask Away, which is a thread in the Ravelry group where you can ask me anything you want and about the podcast, knitting, sewing, spinning, craftiness in general, making, yada yada, and I will try my best to answer it on the podcast, if not inside the thread. Okay, so the first question we have is Ninita from Ninita NYC on Ravelry wants to know, hi, I have a question. You may have already answered this one, so I apologize if it's a duplicate. Are you originally from NYC, New York City? And the answer is yes. I was born in Brooklyn. When I was 7, I moved to the city. I moved to Manhattan, and I went to school there and went to college there. And then after college, I moved out of my parents' place finally, and I moved back to Brooklyn and moved in with a couple of friends. And yeah, met Dennis, and we still live in Brooklyn. So yeah, born and raised, and I love it, you know. So yeah, I'm from Brooklyn. Yay! So, and you know, maybe I'll talk more about this on the 200th. As I mentioned, in a previous episode, we are coming up on the 200th episode of YarnGasm, which is very exciting. And I have a separate thread on there where if you want to ask me any like background questions on I will address questions like how I got started with podcasting, you know, how I got started with knitting and everything, just to bring you guys up to speed in case you've missed out, because I know I had also received a question about episodes 1 through 50. Mainly those were audio podcasts, and sadly those have been lost. I don't know. It was kind of like when I was new to podcasting and I wasn't sure how to get the stuff on the web and everything, was figuring stuff out, and sadly I did not save any of those audio files, which is really terrible. But yeah, if you are wondering, those are no more, which is probably for the best, because those were not really good episodes. They were kind of, you know, I was very green. So, you know, I don't think you're missing out on much. I mean, I do have my blog still going, so if you want to backtrack on there, you can read up on, you know, I think I still have the show notes from them, so if you're really curious, you can go back and dig if you want. But okay, the next question we have is from Megan Ludwig, and she wants to know, hi Kristen, I was wondering if you could recommend a good ball winder and Swift. I've finally lost my patience for winding skeins of yarn by hand, and I want something that is well made but won't break the bank. Or if going all out is worth it in the long run. I might consider making an investment in a really good one. Thanks so much, and I love this podcast and your yarn. Currently blissfully knitting on a shawl in Outlander as I write this. Aw, I'm so glad that you like the podcast and you are enjoying the yarn, and I cannot wait to see that finished object. And yes, I do not know how you people... I know it's an investment to get a ball winder and Swift and everything, but I remember those days when I would just ball up yarn from a skein. It's not fun, and yeah, so I highly recommend that it's worth the investment. Get via Swift. You can get one on Amazon. I got mine, which, I don't know, I don't want to rotate the angle, but I will do it. I don't know if you can see it. This one right there. This one I got on Amazon for under $60. So, and I will put the make of it in the show notes, or a link to it in the show notes, so you can see which it is. But highly recommend getting the Swift. And the ball winder that I actually have is, I don't know if you can see it over here, this one. It's from Knit Picks. It's $20, and it's the third one that I've been through. But the cool thing about Knit Picks, or the great thing about Knit Picks, is they will replace it. If it breaks on you, they will replace it. And the reason I was using it for winding yarn and everything with my, yarn dyeing business, and which is, if you are mass producing yarn and you're, in producing high volume skeins, and you do reskein your yarn all the time, that's when I suggest, investing in the high end ones like Nancy's Knit Knacks, or oh goodness, the Strock ball winder, which I used to have. I used to have a Strock ball winder. I believe it was like $200 to $300. It was an investment, and I have since destashed it, only because I didn't like the way it worked, and I wasn't using it as much as, I thought I would be. So I'm saying my main suggestion would be, you know, if you are just using it for personal use, I'm happy with my Knit Picks ball winder. You know, it does the job. I don't use it every day, and I go slow with it. I treat it well. It holds up. So, you know, it's really, you know, how you plan on using it, how often, how frequently. This works out great for me because I use it for personal use only. But the Swift, I highly recommend. So I hope that answers your question. The next question we have is from All That Cake Knit on Ravelry, and she says, "Hey Kristen, I was watching your older episodes, specifically episode 89. Whatever happened to those colorwork mittens you designed for Roman Hills? I would love to knit some. Thanks." Okay, yeah, this is a project that never ended up happening for, you know, personal reasons and whatever. It just never came to fruition. But yeah, I had designed some mittens for Cooperative Press. This was a book that was based, it was going to have a bunch of patterns designed by Brooklyn knitters. And I had designed a pair of mittens, which I will show you right now. I think it was the episode where I showed them to you in black and white, but now I've gotten permission, I can talk about them, and I'm actually going to be, well, here they are. So, yeah, these are the mittens that I designed. Very excited about them and really bummed that they did not make it, you know, the book never happened. But yeah, they just kind of sat in my stash and nothing really came of them. So thank you for your question, because that kind of gave me the kick in the butt that I needed to reach out to Lisa of Roman Hills Yarns. You know, and ask her, you know, I know it's not happening, but would you mind if I publish the pattern? You know, it's kind of just sitting around, not, you know, it's a shame. I want to get it out there. And she's like, yeah, by all means, you know. So I have full permission. I'm going to be publishing these, and I don't have a name for them yet, but these were inspired by, because it was a Brooklyn inspired pattern book, these were inspired by the L and the G train. So the green is for the G line, which is green, and then the gray is for the L line, which is gray, obviously. So, and these are Brooklyn's main lines. Basically, it's our lifeline into the city of Manhattan, aside from like some other, you know, lines like the M and the J. But for, you know, our main lifeline is the G and the L to get around Brooklyn, basically. So yeah, that's where the inspiration for these come from. And yeah, so I'm definitely going to be publishing them. Sorry, that was a FedEx guy. I had to go down and answer the door. But anyway, I don't think I will be publishing these until fall, because I don't think anybody wants to knit mittens in spring, summer. So I think this will be a really cool pattern to release in fall, unless you know, you guys really want it now. Let me know, and you know, I might make it happen. So all right, yeah, just give me feedback on that. But yeah, these will be published. Very excited about it. And yeah, speaking of pattern designs, I think I mentioned this earlier in the episode, but I do have a couple of new design ideas floating around in my brain that I want to get out, so maybe I will start working on those next week. But yeah, otherwise, that is it for Ask Away. Thank you so much for your questions, and again, if you have any questions that you would like me to answer, just post them in that thread. Yes, okay, so moving along, I'm going to move along to shop update, because I will be having, I know it's early this week, but because I'm going away on vacation, I'm shifting the schedule around a little bit, and instead of the last weekend in May, I will be having my international friendly shop update this weekend, which is Saturday, May 21st at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I hope you guys can make it. But yes, I will have lots of fun colorways in the shop this week, which I will show you now. And this is, again, in my Alex Collins tote bag. Very, very handy, Alex. Thank you. But yeah, I will actually be having a lot of one-of-a-kinds in the shop, because I've been playing around with a couple of colorways. Some new ideas, which I can't really discuss at this time, but I will tell you it is exciting. Very, very exciting. But yeah, this is one of them, the one-of-a-kinds. I don't know, I'm kind of smitten with it. I kind of want to make it regular, but anyway, that's one. And then I haven't named these yet. And then, let me see. Okay, then there's this one. Cool. And then there is this one. Again, these are one of a kind, so they cannot be repeated, sadly. So yeah, there's this one. And then, of course, there will be some Dirty on Purpose. go. I will have some Enjoy the Silence. And then I will have some Outlander. Love Outlander. And by popular demand, I will have some Octopus Garden. Made lots of these last night. I will have some Beach Bum. Again, the orange, you guys. Sneaking its way into my life. I don't know what's up with that, but here it is. So there's that. And then I will also have, I will be dyeing up some more. Oh, wait, yeah, okay. I will have some Succulents, and this is it on my Nouveau base. If you can see that. Which is a singles. And then I will also have some I Am No Bird. This is it on Narwhal. So, yeah, and I'm going to be dyeing up some more today, more colorways today and tomorrow as well, and Friday if I have time. So, but yeah, so those will be in the shop again on Saturday, May 21st at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope you can make it, and again, thank you to everybody who came to my last shop update. You guys are awesome. I love you, and you know, any feedback that I get from you guys, letting me know how much you love the yarn is always appreciated. And yeah, just, you know, I will say, like I say this every time, but if you are knitting a project out of my yarn, please hashtag it, hashtag Voolenvine yarn, so I can see what you make, because it really I'm excited to see you guys using my yarn, and I love seeing what you guys make. So yay, awesome. And yeah, the yarn club, I'm still dyeing up the, those will be going out next week, but the last installment of the Gory Details yarn club will be going out next week, first thing. So yes, that is underway as well. So yay, exciting. And I'm still teetering around with the idea of doing another yarn club. I haven't announced it yet, but I am planning one. I just want to see how my schedule is going to pan out once I get back from vacation and all that good stuff. But I will not be announcing one until after I get back from vacation. So there is that. I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, but the other thing that I want to mention again is, you know, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. I'm happy to answer any questions. Just email me at voolenvineyarns@gmail.com. But I do want to say that, you know, I do get a lot of comments about cartjacking, and unfortunately this is something that I cannot control. I did try, I mentioned this a while ago that I was trying a plugin that prevents cartjacking, but honestly that was creating more problems than solving any. So unfortunately I just had to revert back to the old, not the old, but you know, the original settings on the site. So I apologize if you guys were having any frustration with that, but it's unfortunately something that I cannot control. But I will say again, my best advice to you is to create an account on voolenvineyarns.com and log in a couple minutes prior to an update. This way checkout will be a breeze, hopefully, you know, and you have a better chance of checking out with the yarn that you came to buy. So yeah, so that's my soapbox. Not soapbox, but you know what I'm saying. That's my commentary this weekend about, you know, or my tips for this week, as you know, what have you. But otherwise, I am going to move along to Blather, where I talk about what's going on in my life other than knitting, spinning, sewing, yada yada. But yeah, as I mentioned, Dennis and I, we're going away on vacation finally, a nice relaxing beach vacation. We are going to Barbados. Yay! Cannot wait. Yeah, I think our last relaxing vacation was when we went to Mexico like 2 years ago. And this is very much needed because yeah, Dennis has been working hard, I've been working hard, and our last technical vacation was Italy. We went to Italy, and that's not really a relaxing vacation. You're walking, you're sightseeing, and you come back and you need a vacation from vacation, essentially. So yeah, I am looking forward to just sitting on a beach and doing absolutely nothing, no responsibility whatsoever. And yeah, so that will be really, really nice. Bella, you know, our friends of ours are coming to stay to check, you know, take care of Bella and the house and everything. So there's that, which is good. And then, yeah, but otherwise the week leading up to that on, I said Monday I'm going to be doing, some tying up loose ends, getting some last minute work done. And then I think Tuesday through Thursday I will just be checking out because I feel like I do need a break. I know there are days when I say, oh, I did nothing today, it was wonderful, but no, I'm really lying, because when you work from home, there's always that little something that can be done. It's like, oh, I'm just gonna sit, I'm gonna knit, I'm gonna relax, just take a load off, and then no, but I just got an email. No, I have to skein up those other skeins of yarn that I just dyed, or there's always that little something that can be done, and I have to learn how to just turn it off. It's easier said than done, and that's the downside of working from home, But yeah, so I think next week will be all about just turning it off. I mean, I will be present on social media. You will hear from me. It's not like I'm just totally checking out, falling off the grid or anything like that. But I'm, as far as work is concerned, I'm gonna put up the Gmail notice. Like if I get any emails, I'm just gonna say, I will get back to you when I get back from vacation, because I need this for myself. If that makes any sense. So yeah, there's that. And then anyway, very much looking forward to that. And then the other thing that I wanted to talk about, what else? Yeah, last week was busy. And I'm not glorifying that in any respect, but yeah, I was getting out some not wholesale, I'm sorry. What do you call it? Pre-orders. I was getting those out. And then Friday I had a dentist appointment, which I hate the dentist. I really do. And this one was not fun at all, because you guys, I have cavities. How does this happen? It's like, I hate the dentist to begin with. I was like texting my friends. I was like, I'm so scared. I'm in the waiting room and I hear drilling noises, and they're like, it's gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine. And lo and behold, they do x-rays and everything like that. I have cavities. So I've got to go in and have them filled at a certain point. So that was fun. Not so much. They did say that some of my, without getting too into detail or anything, but basically they're saying that I really need to stop drinking Diet Coke, which I know I really should have stopped a long time ago, which is probably one of the major causes why my teeth are in the shape that they're in. So the hygienist said, she goes, stop drinking Diet Coke, eliminate it. And I think it's having a doctor tell you that is the kick in the butt that I need, because otherwise if anybody else tells me to do something, I'm one of those people where it's like, if you tell me to do something, I will do the complete, I will just do it anyway. I don't know what it is. I just don't like being told what to do. So I will just continue destroying my body with Diet Coke. But anyway, I just needed the doctor, I think, to tell me that, or the dentist to tell me that I need to stop drinking Diet Coke. So I'm very pleased to say that I have not had any Diet Coke since my dentist appointment, which is probably why I seem a little, I don't know. I don't, like, the first couple of days were fine. I was like, oh, I've got this. I can totally kick the habit, But then, like, yesterday and today, I was really feeling it. I was like, all right, something is missing from the equation, because I like to have soda while I'm working at my desk. There's some, it's one thing to have, like, the flavor and the bubbles, but there's something else in Diet Coke that I find very addicting. But I'm glad that I'm finally kicking the habit. I'm just eliminating it from my daily routine, what have you. So anyway, yeah, no more Diet Coke for me. And yeah, not so great news from the dentist, but I guess some good came out of it. So I'm trying to look at it that way. But yeah, I can do this, you guys. Hold me to it. No more Diet Coke. Yeah. But anyway, otherwise, I'm trying to think what else is going on. This weekend, I think we're just going to relax. We're going to take care of, it's the weekend before we go away, so we're just going to tidy up the house, make sure it's nice when we come back, and, do some gardening. Dennis got some new flowers for the backyard. Yeah, so that'll be a lot of fun. But otherwise, I think that is it for this week. I feel like I'm rambling at this point, as usual. So thank you so much for tuning in. Happy knitting, and I will see you next week, because I will podcast next week. And I will try and get Bella to make an appearance on the show. So anyway, but she says hello. She's over there. But yeah, happy knitting, and I will see you next time. Bye.